Hey Hair Lounge community, my name is Angelina and we're in the Hair Lounge. Today we're talking all about split ends. I'll break down what they are, why they happen, and what you can do to remove them. Stay tuned and we'll get right into it. So, split ends, everybody has had them, but do you know why it happens? A lot of times it is stress on your hair. So, for example, do you take a brush to your hair and brush it when it's wet? That will cause split ends. Go ahead and hit that like button if you do that to your hair. And if you do, shame on you. Do not brush your hair when it is wet unless you're using a wet brush. You need to be using a wide tooth comb or your fingers or something that has wider teeth on it so it's not putting added stress to your hair. Your hair, when it is wet, is at its weakest. So you need to be extra careful when your hair is wet and you're pulling on it, tugging on it, combing through it, doing whatever you are. Because when your hair is wet, it stretches. And when it stretches, it's just like, say, a piece of gum and you stretch it out and eventually it'll stretch, and then snap, it breaks. That's what happens to your hair strands when they're wet and put under tension. Another thing is it's dry. So dry hair will cause split ends. So you need to make sure you are using those leave-in conditioners. It's a 10 on it to comb through to help rehab that dry hair. Or your Olaplex, your bonding oil, any of those serums to help those dry ends stay moisturized. That is going to help split ends. Another thing is split ends are inevitable. Everybody eventually is going to get split ends. That's why you need to cut your hair on a regular basis. What is a regular basis, you ask? Normal haircut should happen at least every 5 to 6 weeks. You need to make sure that you're cutting off that dead end stuff before you get split ends. You've always seen your hair where you're bored, you're sitting in your house and you're looking at your hair and you're going, I have a split end that is all the way up to here, and you pull on it. No, don't do that. Because what happens is it's almost like a thread. And if you pull one of those threads and you kind of see it unwind, and then what you're left with is just a tiny, thin little piece of cotton, that's what's gonna happen to your hair. So you need to make sure you're cutting it before you get split ends. If you're cutting it and you already have split ends, unfortunately, most people don't wanna cut 3 inches off their hair because they want to grow it or they don't want short hair. So you need to make sure you're coming in more often to avoid getting those split ends. Because unfortunately, like I said, we're talking about how can we rehab it or what can we do. You cannot get rid of split ends unless you're cutting them off. They have all those treatments out there. There's, I think, split end repair and all those things. Those are just band-aids for those split ends. They're not gonna remove them. The only way you can remove split ends is if you cut them. But if you are getting those trims as often as I said, 5 to 6 weeks or 4 weeks if your hair grows fast, you are making sure you are getting rid of those dry ends before they have a chance to split. A lot of people do not like to cut their hair because they want it to grow. I know a lot of people ask, so is it true that if you cut your hair, it'll grow faster? No. Because it grows from your scalp, and it's not gonna grow faster out of your scalp if you're cutting your ends. But what happens when you have split ends, it just keeps breaking and breaking and breaking, and that is what's getting shorter on your hair. So if you're removing those split ends before it has a chance to break up your hair shaft, you are avoiding those unnecessary 3-4 inch haircuts when you haven't come in, say it's been a year. So if you stay consistent, you will avoid split ends. All right, so the things that you can do to kind of help rehab your hair, make sure you're doing your deep conditioners. Deep conditioners are gonna keep that hair very soft, very supple, very moisturized. That way it doesn't have a chance to dry out and just snap or break off. Make sure you're using those oils. Make sure you're doing all the things that you can to your hair to avoid the split ends. That's going to rehab your hair so that way you do not get split ends. Another thing, drink that water. The water is gonna help hydrate you from the inside out. That's gonna make sure your hair is not dry or your skin is not dry, which your hair is growing out of your skin or scalp. So hydrate it from the inside out. That way it stays very healthy and strong. That's all the tips I have for split ends. Hopefully this helps educate you a little bit. That way you can avoid having 4 inches cut off of your hair when you're trying to grow it out. And if you guys want to see any of my new videos coming up, now's the time to hit the subscribe button. If you don't hit it, you're gonna miss out and you're not gonna know when all my new videos are coming out. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.